Into match number 2 we go now, over in the Gold Cup with big wins for the USA and maybe a bit of a surprise on our hands as Jamaica lose their opening match. What am I talking about? Well, I'll tell you next. That's right, folks, back once again with another video. Today we take a look at match number 2 in the Gold Cup. That's right, and we'll get to it in a second. If you're new where you've been, smash your subscribe. You want to subscribe for Gold Cup, Blabbing Rovers, World Football. We're going to all hear under one Rooski. That's right, surprise, surprise. Jamaica, Reggae Boys, Steve McLaren, they lost opening day. They put their Gold Cup status on the brink of collapse already. Meanwhile, the USA and Saudi Arabia got themselves off to perfect starts, as of course Mexico also kicking themselves off to a big win. What am I getting into? Well, I'll tell you in a second. Big shout out to the members and the Patreons. You know who you are, but we're here to talk about this. It is the Gold Cup and it's coming at you right here, right now. But what we're going to do first and foremost is bring you bang up to date with what went on in matchday number 1. Alrighty then, folks, these are the results of matchday number 1. Now, I do have a couple of games in the middle of the pack here that are yet to take place. It's the way of the beast here is because the turnaround time between the end of those games and the start of match number 2 is paper thin. So we're going to do this right here, right now. You just will, it is what it is. So let's roll into it. Bet Mexico. My predictions are on this left-hand side. The real deal's on this right-hand side. So 2-0 winners was my prediction for them over Dominican Republic. They did win 3-2. Costa Rica and Suriname ended up 4-3. I went with a draw. I did predict Canada to beat Honduras 2-1. We'll have to wait and see. Curaçao and El Salvador, I did predict a 1-1 scoreline. So again, also we'll have to wait and see on that one. Panama 2-0 winners, that was my expectation. They won 5-2. Jamaica, I went with a 3-1 win, but Guatemala got the one and only goal. And they, of course, picked up a massive win in a group, which is very much up for grabs. Meanwhile, the USA did beat Trinidad to make a 5-0 on with a 2-0 win. And Haiti did lose to Saudi Arabia 2-1 in a very tight game over in their respective group. So let's go state of play over in the tables. As you see in Group A, Costa Rica and Mexico lead the charge at the moment. Top 2 go through, of course. Work to do for Suriname and Dominican Republic. Group B yet to get going. They take place tonight. Meanwhile, in Group C, Panama lead the charge with Guatemala now in second place. Jamaica now realistically leading to beat Guadeloupe and get something out of Panama to continue their journey. USA and Saudi Arabia doing their bit. It's not over just yet, as we think the 2 winners are locking horns this week. We'll see in just a second. In fact, we'll see it right now as these are the next round of games. And yes, Saudi Arabia and USA will lock horns, which could open up the doors for the likes of Trinidad and Haiti in the final round of games. So let's get into it then, shall we? We're going to kick it all off with Costa Rica as they take on Dominican Republic to see if they can bounce back into this one, taking on a difficult Costa Rica side. This match taking place over the AT&T Stadium. Costa Rica under Miguel Herrera, top of the pops right now. 5 wins on the spin for them, up against Dominican Republic under Marcelo Neflef. That's right. They could be on 58% form for them, just 1 win in the last 3. But these two sides haven't played each other in a little bit, according to my matches here. Costa Rica on the back of that 4-3 win over Suriname. Prior to that, wins over Barbados or Bahamas and Trinidad and Tobago. In fact, they scored quite a lot of goals in those last handful of matches. In fact, 10, I'll go do some math here, 10, 20, 30 goals scored in the last 6 games in all competitions, all venues. Meanwhile, Dominican Republic are on the back of that 3-2 loss to Mexico. It was a tight loss. They could have snatched something out of it towards the end there. But prior to that, big wins over Dominica in the World Cup qualifiers at the moment. Bookies for this one currently have Costa Rica 2-1 on for the victory. 11-2 is Dominican Republic. 31-10 is the draw. I think Costa Rica realistically are stepping up to the plate here and showing that they are definitely contenders for this. I'm going to go with a 2-1 win, unfortunately, which probably does mean end of the Dominican Republic. Costa Rica in the driving seat, heading into a barnstorming finale up against Mexico in this group. Meanwhile, Suriname, they do take on Mexico over in Group A. Suriname under Stanley Menzo. They are 3rd in the table right now, but back-to-back games without a win in all competitions, all venues. Meanwhile, Mexico under Javier Eguea, 4 wins in the last 5, including back-to-back wins. And they're coming into this on the back of 2 wins out of 2 over Suriname, stretching back to 2022. The biggest win was a 3-0 win. That was all the way back in June 2022. CONCACAF Nations League. They did play again, reverse fixture in Suriname back in March 23, and Mexico did come out top with that one as well. On the back of that loss, though, to Costa Rica, Suriname 4-3 loss. Their last win was a 1-0 win over Puerto Rico. Meanwhile, Mexico on the back of that 3-2 close encounter against Dominican Republic on the opening day. The bookies for this, 10-1 is your Suriname, 127 on is your Mexico, 92 is your. I think Suriname are going to put up a fight here. I think there is some cracks in the armour for Mexico, and I think Suriname might get something out of this. I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw, which then does put Costa Rica in the driving seat, which does mean more in the the last game for Mexico to come out top with a win. So a bit of a surprise perhaps in Group A. Meanwhile, Curaçao, they're up against Canada. Again, we don't know about this. We're coming into this with some undecisiveness because we don't know what's going to go on in the opening matches, which do take place tonight. But we're going to give it our best shot. Now, this match takes place at the Shell Energy Stadium. That's right, on the 22nd of June. Dick Advocaat's Curaçao, 5 wins on the spin. Up against the Canada under Jesse Marsh, currently 2 defeats in the last 4 matches. They have played 3 times in 2017, Canada winning all 3 of them. Their biggest win was a 4-0 win, and that was all the way back in June 2022 in the CONCACAF Nations League. The most recent match was the reverse fixture in Curaçao, 2-0 winners. It was, like I said, we don't know about Canada. They're coming into this on the back of a loss to Ivory Coast in a penalty shootout. Meanwhile, Curaçao on the back of a 5-1 win over Haiti. They've actually scored 9 goals in the last 2. So they're pretty goal scoring at the moment. Again, we don't know. We just don't know. And I don't even have any odds for this. I do have basic odds. Basic odds do show that Canada are favoured for the victory on this one. So we're probably going to lean towards that. I think Canada are a decent shout. It's been madness with goals and drama in the Gold Cup, so I'm going Bonanzo here. 4-2 win for Canada. Again, we'll see how they pan in their first game as well. Meanwhile, speaking of first games, we've got to do the same for Honduras. They're up against it, taking on an El Salvador in the Battle of the Blue and White Flags. That's right. These two sides locking horns at the Shell Energy Stadium as well. Honduras under Ronaldo Rueda, 4 wins on the spin as of right now. Coming at you up against El Salvador under Herman Gomez Jamilio. They are 58% form for them right now, unbeaten in the last 4, but they've only won once in the last 5. Got draws knocking around for El Salvador. Now, these two sides are familiar foes, playing 21 times since 2009. 12 wins Honduras, 3 wins El Salvador, 6 draws between the two sides. Biggest win, Honduras, 4-0 win. Biggest win for El Salvador, 2-0 win. The last match that they did play was a draw way back in March 2024. They have exchanged victories in recent years as well. So there's no current feel of dominance in this match. In fact, over the last 6, they've won 2 apiece. They've drawn 2 apiece. So it's pretty even Stevens. El Salvador on the back of that 1-1 draw against Suriname in the World Cup qualifiers. Meanwhile, Honduras on the back of that 2-0 win over Antigua Barbuda. They haven't conceded a goal in the last 3 matches. Again, don't know about this. Don't know which way we're going to fly. I'm going to go with a 3-1 win, though, for Honduras. It just feels like it at that moment, the way the wind blows. Meanwhile, bounce back ability is needed here for Jamaica as they take on Guadeloupe over in Group C at the PayPal Park. Jamaica under Steve McLaren, 2 defeats in the last 6. They still sit 3rd at the moment, up against Guadeloupe, who are 4th, 75% form on the back of a defeat with Fernando Diaz in charge. They played twice since 2008, 2 wins and a 2 for Jamaica, including a 2-1 win when they last played back in July 2021. They also played in the Gold Cup qualifiers way back in December 2008. 2-0 win as it was for Jamaica back then. Jamaica, though, did lose to Guatemala yesterday, and Panama did beat Guadeloupe 5-2 in a 7-goal Bobby Dazzler. But it did show they got goals and some gut and some desire to Guadeloupe. Bookies for this one, 94 on is Jamaica 30-2, is your Guadeloupe 10-3 is a draw. This is it. This is last. Honestly, it feels like Steve McLaren's job is on the line here. You've got all that talent, all that gear. You're realistically going to be getting some results here. And I did not expect anything but semi-finals for Jamaica. I don't know what's wrong with them at the moment. I just don't know. I do think they'll win this game, but maybe it's just papering over the cracks. Going to go with a 4-1 when they need something. They need something to get the reggae boys on side, the fans as well. So go 4-1 win, which will eliminate Guadeloupe, which gives Jamaica a chance, but they got the big one left against Panama where they need to get something. Meanwhile, Guatemala got the tails up themselves, coming up against Panama, the Q2 Stadium on the 21st of June. That's right, Guatemala under Luis Tena, second in the table right now, 3 points of a possible 3, just 1 defeat in the last 5 for them, 58% form. Up against Panama under Thomas Christensen, 3 wins on the bounce, of course, just 1 defeat in the last 5. They, of course, a 67% form for them over 6 matches. They played Guatemala 10 times in 2005. They won 5 of them. Guatemala have won 1 of them. There's been 4 draws between the two sides. The last match they played back in Panama was back in October 2023. 3-0 win as it was for Panama. Guatemala's last victory over Panama was a long, long time ago. It was way back in August 2005, it looks like. So a good era of dominance for Panama. They have drawn a few of them, though. They've drawn 3 of the last 5 against them, so that could be the avenue here. Guatemala, though, on the back of that 1-0 win over Jamaica. Just remember that. They did lose to Jamaica in the World Cup qualifiers not that long ago. It was a couple days before, so just how the wind blows. Jamaica just... I don't know what's wrong with them. Meanwhile, Panama, a big 5-2 win over Guadeloupe, and they look the real bloody deal right now. 50-4, your Guatemala, 5-4 on is your Panama, 12-5 is the draw. I'm going with an upset here. Guatemala with a 3-2 win Wow, which puts Guatemala in the driving seat, and they could actually see one of Jamaica and Panama crash out. What am I doing? What am I bloody doing? Anyway, we go to the final couple here. It's Trinidad Tobago up against Haiti, that's right. Coming at you at the Shell Energy Stadium. Trinidad Tobago under Dwight York. 4 defeats of the last 5. They are struggling right now. Up against Haiti under Sebastian Minge. Back-to-back defeats for them at the moment. They played each other 3 times since 2012. No wins Trinidad and Tobago, 2 wins Haiti. There's been 1 draw between the 2 sides. Coming into this, that 1 win, actually not that 1 win, that 1 draw was way back in December 2012. It's been back-to-back wins for Haiti, both of them in the CONCACAF. Actually, 1 was in the Gold Cup. Quite a few tournaments back in July 2013. Most recently, they played in the Copa America playoffs back in January 2016. That was a 1-0 win as well for Haiti. So Trinidad have played them 3 times. They haven't scored a goal against them, and they're coming into this on the back of back-to-back defeats. Haiti, though, on the back of that 1-0 loss to Saudi Arabia, they did lose to Curaçao as well. So not the best preparation for this match. But it all boils down to this one. The odds for this, what are we looking at? Trinidad Tobago, currently 4-1 for the victory, 11-8 on as your Haiti, 13-5 is the draw. Going to go with a 2-1 win. Surprise. Trinidad are going to deliver a result here, a surprise. Turn it up. And, of course, put a right-on spin in this thing as we enter the final round of games. And then finally, it's Saudi Arabia against USA, bit of a highlight, one of the biggest games of the tournament thus far anyway, at the Q2 Stadium. Saudi Arabia and Hervé Renard just 1 defeat in the last 6. They sit second, 3 points for them at the moment. Up against the USA, just 1 win in the last 5, and what a win it was. Now, these 2 sides have played just the once in 2022. It was a draw, it was a 0-0 draw way back in September 2022. The Saudi Arabians on the back of that 1-0 win over Haiti. Meanwhile, the USA on the back of that 5-0 win over Trinidad and Tobago. Prior to that, though, losses to Turkey and Switzerland and Canada and Panama as well. So they haven't been on good form. I don't know what the secret sauce is for the USA at the moment, but the Saudi Arabians are going to be standing in the way. And it's a difficult one to call right now. The bookies are leaning with the USA, 7-4 on for the victory, 9-2 is Saudi Arabia, 3-1 is the draw. I think I saw something in that USA squad against Trinidad. I thought a little bit of a fight. I don't think there's any prima donnas knocking around. So I'm going to go with the USA to win this. Again, the goal bonanza here. 3-2 win for the USA and puts them in command, probably puts them through to the quarterfinals already, but still to be decided is first or second place. That is it. That's what I've got for you for match number 2. We're going to come at you thick and fast for the next one whenever it comes around. But until then, subscribe, smash the like, catch you later. But until then, we are done.